Since then, we've worked together, and our teams have created about 300 outreach events. They're called matchmaking events. Our goal is to put the right procurement officer together with the right small business. Some people say that's like speed dating. We prefer to think that we're creating long-term relationships, maybe like Match.com. So far, we are actually exceeding our goals in the Recovery Act. We're exceeding those goals. We've got about $5 billion in Recovery Act dollars in the hands of small businesses, and we're exceeding some of our sub-goals also, such as those with service-disabled veterans. We're also very focused on the women and minority-owned firms getting access to federal contracts, because these two sectors, the women and minority-owned businesses, are some of the fastest-growing sectors in all of small business. So we have capital, we have contracts. The third C is counseling. I want to touch on this because many of you don't know about the extent of our counseling network. I call it the SBA bone structure. The backbone is our SBA employees. We have over 100 field offices all across the country. We're a small agency with a big mission. Our most valuable asset in achieving that mission is our people. We also have 14,000 affiliated counselors. These include 900 small business development centers, mostly located at community colleges, local universities. We have more than 100 women's business centers. We say that we have a counselor within 45 minutes to an hour of most small businesses that are out there. And we have 370 chapters of our mentoring program, which is called SCORE. All together, these folks serve more than 1 million clients a year. This past year, they've been working particularly hard because small business owners have had to shift gears in order to survive. Many of them have come in to redo their business plan. And these people are helping new entrepreneurs start up businesses. I want to point out Ken Yancey, who's right here, who runs SCORE. He has an entire volunteer army of retired executives, and he has challenged them over the next 5 years to help create over 1 million small businesses. I always tell small business I come to these gatherings, I do them all over the country, and there are small business owners there, and I always ask them to raise their hand if they have a SBA counselor, if they have a counselor who helps them. And if they don't, I tell them they should. Because our data shows that when you have a long-term counseling relationship, you have better sales, higher profits, and you hire more people. The best part of that is that all of these services are free. Another tool in our counseling toolbox is SBA's partnership with the private sector. On that note, I'm very happy to be here to announce that we are launching a new online partnership today called Strategies for Growth with Dell, which is a company that knows something about growth. They started in 1984 with $1,000 in startup capital. Some of the best advice that a small business owner can get is from someone who has been in their shoes. That's what's in Strategies for Growth. It's video and it's online, and it shows you how to get contracts and how to export, how to create jobs. And I want to thank Rebecca Gould, who's here from Dell, for being here today. And Grace Dentmer, who's here, who's the CEO of Trusted Mission Solutions. That's one of our great IT companies. She has a number of federal contracts, and she's a star in the video as well. And has anyone in this room ever eaten a cupcake from Cake Love, right? Yeah? Well, all right, Warren, you're going to have to stand up because Warren Brown is here, and he started Cake Love. He told me earlier that he's expanding. He's going to open a new location, can't tell you where yet, and maybe he'll say, and hire more employees. So thank you very much. He's also a star of Strategies for Growth, telling other people how to grow their business. So thank you, Warren. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Rebecca, for being here today to kick this off. Thank you. So, we've covered capital, we've covered contracting and counseling. And through those, we at the SBA have helped small businesses come a long way in 2009. But what about now? The President said, I'm going to quote, he said, last week, we will not rest until small businesses are investing again, businesses are hiring again, and people have work. In each recession, we know that job growth lags behind the economy. So we're seeing the economy tick up, and we are focusing on how to make sure that small businesses have the tools and the incentives that they need to create jobs and to create them as quickly as possible. So what are we doing? Well, the first thing that we did is that we listened. And some of you actually were in attendance or have seen that Tim Geithner and I held a forum last month on small business lending. And that, in turn, set the stage for the Small Businesses Job Summit, where Tim and I had another forum. We had small businesses there. We've had banks there, community banks, large banks. And that, in turn, contributed to the rollout last week of the jobs plan, in which small business was a priority. This process has been a great way for us to get input directly from small business owners. So it's not surprising that this plan, this jobs plan, has very broad support from the small business community because it's built on things that work. As I mentioned before, the waived fees, the increased 90% guarantees in our loan program did exactly what they were supposed to do. They worked so well, in fact, that we ran out of stimulus funds before Thanksgiving. It was months before the authorization is going to expire. Small business owners and our lending partners are very vocal about the need to continue these provisions. And that's why the jobs plan calls for them to be extended through the end of 2010. In addition, we're asking Congress to increase our loan size from $2 million to $5 million. Based on what we've heard from small business owners, as well as our own hard data, we know that demand exists out there for these larger loans. And there's no reason that we can't meet that demand and help these small business owners create jobs. Extending our Recovery Act loan provisions, increasing our loan sizes, those are good first steps. But they're also complemented by the administration, who is working to encourage more conventional small business loans. In fact, I'm sure that you know that right this morning, maybe not at this very minute, but just in the last hour, the President himself met with the top U.S. banks on this very topic. We're also not going to stop there. The small business community told us that tax incentives are critical. For example, you might remember that in the stimulus we had the carryback provision for small businesses, and that has been actually renewed. The President signed legislation extending that to 2009 as well, and already I think it's accounting for about $5 billion in tax relief for small businesses. That's money right in the hands of small businesses off their taxes this year. We're going to build on this in the jobs plan. Calls for Congress to extend the tax write-off, the accelerated depreciation for investment in equipment, and to completely eliminate capital gains taxes for people who invest in small businesses in 2010. Furthermore, the administration is talking with Congress about a short-term tax cut that will accelerate new hires. With this tax cut, we want to be able to say to small business owners, don't wait, go ahead, make that hire, you can do it now. Jobs plan benefits for small business don't stop there. The money for energy retrofits also helps many small businesses that specialize in weatherization and in renewable energy. And in